Greetings, my dear friends. Today, I'm going to tell you 10 incredible stories that will give you chills from the very first seconds. I would be absolutely thrilled if you enjoy this video. Your likes, comments, and subscriptions are the best motivation for me to keep bringing you the most terrifying and thrilling stories. I don't believe in ghosts, or rather, didn't, until that call. It was last year. My grandmother passed away, suddenly, in her sleep. We were very close. I was at the funeral, helped organize everything. It was hard, but I managed. 3 days after the burial, I got a call on the landline, which was strange. No one uses it. I didn't even know it still worked. I picked up and heard her voice. "Hello, sweetie." I landed safely. I nearly dropped the phone. It was her voice. Exactly. But distorted. Like it was coming through water, with a low humming in the background, like a train passing close. "Grandma, is that you?" Of course it's me. Things are different here. But they let me call. I didn't know what to say. My throat tightened. She went on. "Remember my music box? Don't leave it open." "What?" "Where the photos are, they might come through." The signal started crackling. I shouted into the receiver. "Grandma, where are you?" And then she said one last thing. "Don't answer when they call. I call once. They call again." Then silence. Just static. I checked the number. The screen said 0000. I disconnected the landline for good. But a week later, I got another call. On my cell phone. Unknown number. No location. I didn't answer. I worked the night shift at a 24-hour supermarket, from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Nothing glamorous, just silence, empty shelves, and the occasional strange customer. But the third aisle, that one always felt wrong. It was narrow, poorly lit, mostly stocked with cheap pasta, rice, and pet food. But at night, something was off about it. One time, close to 3 a.m., the security cameras glitched. All feeds froze, except for the one facing the third aisle. It showed nothing. Then, movement. Like a shadow slipped between the shelves. I went to check it out. Took a flashlight, walked in. The aisle was empty. I turned to leave, and heard it. Footsteps. Soft at first. Then right behind me, but no one was there. I looked around, and noticed one of the pet food boxes had been pushed aside. Behind it was a hole. Not a wall, not a storage room. A black, gaping hole. I aimed the flashlight at it, and it died. Darkness. Then came the hissing. I don't know how I moved, but I ran, tripped, scrambled toward the break room. Something was scraping the floor behind me. I hid and didn't move until dawn. The next day, I tried to quit. My manager looked confused. He told me the cameras caught nothing, and that the store only has 2 aisles. I checked again. Sure enough, just 2. But at night, I still hear something moving there. Sometimes knocking, sometimes calling, in a voice that sounds exactly like mine. There was an old amusement park in our town. Long abandoned, but never demolished. It sat past the industrial zone, quiet, forgotten. It used to have a carousel, a shooting gallery, a haunted house. Now everything was rusted, overgrown. But there were strange rumors about it. One night I overheard some local guys talking. During a full moon, the music turns back on. What music? The carousel. And lights. Like it's alive again. You ever go in? No one who does comes back. I didn't believe them, so I went. Took a flashlight and a camera. It was freezing. Snow crunched under my boots. And from far off, I could hear music, circus-like, looping. A soft glow pulsed behind the trees. I climbed the fence. They weren't lying. The neon sign, "Welcome," flickered. And in the middle of the square, the carousel spun, old, wooden, creaking, but moving. I recorded everything. Got closer. It looked empty. But then I noticed one horse moved faster than the rest, and someone was sitting on it. A silhouette. Dark. Still. The music stopped. total silence, and a voice behind me whispered, "Your ticket, please." I turned. No one there. But now every horse had a rider, shadow figures, frozen in place, and one of the horses was looking straight at me. Its eyes were real. I ran. But the park had changed. A hall of mirrors, a tunnel ride, a tower with a clock. None of it was there before. From each entrance came a voice. "Come on, the line is moving." I climbed the fence and didn't look back. The next morning, I checked the footage. The video was pitch black. No lights, no rides, just me, walking through the ruins. And at one point, I laughed, but it wasn't my voice. There was one strange room in our school, room 17. It was located at the end of the old wing, the part of the building that had been closed off for years, officially under renovation, but no one ever worked there, just a taped-up door with a faded number plaque. I was on duty during winter break. The security guard let me stay in the reading room with my laptop. It was quiet, and the Wi-Fi was better than at home. By evening, I was alone in the building. Snowstorm outside, wind whistling through window cracks. Around 10 p.m., the lights went out. Completely. Not even emergency lamps turned on. I used my phone's flashlight. Time to leave. Walking past the old wing, I saw room 17's door was ajar. That was impossible. It hadn't been touched in years. I peeked inside. Dark, dusty, old desks, a chalkboard, and a faint movement in the back, like someone sitting at the last desk. Maybe the guard? "Hey," I called. "Is someone there?" Silence. I turned on my flashlight. The beam swept the room and froze on something strange. A giant eye was drawn on the board in chalk. Below it, a message. "Watch before it sees you." I stepped back. And then, the door slammed shut behind me. I was inside. Panic set in. I rattled the handle. Locked. The flashlight flickered. And then, I knew I wasn't alone. Breathing, right behind me. I turned. Nothing. But now the chalkboard read, "It's already watching." Then I heard tapping from inside one of the desks, like someone was scratching from within. I ran to the door, pounded with my fists. But that room wasn't even on the school's layout. Room 17 didn't exist on any floor plan, and when the security guard later spoke to police, he swore he never saw me leave. By morning, the door was sealed again. The next day, I came back with my parents. The door was gone. No frame, no number, just a blank wall. But sometimes when I pass that part of the hallway, I swear I hear faint scratching and a whisper in my head. You looked, and now you remember. I noticed him almost immediately after I moved in. He lived across the hall, same floor. Tall, thin, always dressed in black. I never saw his full face, only his silhouette when he stepped out of his apartment, always at night, and he never turned on the lights. Not in the hallway, not inside his apartment. At first, I thought he was just a strange guy, an introvert, maybe worked nights. But then the noises started, creaks, rustling, strange, wet breathing. I'd get up and look through the peephole. He'd just be standing there, just standing in the hallway, sometimes for an hour, doing nothing, not moving, not speaking, just staring at my door. I tried talking to him. "Good evening." He turned his head, but didn't respond. His face was hidden in the shadows, like it wasn't even there. A week later, the nightmares began. Every night, I'd dream of myself, standing in the hallway, naked, staring at his door. And every morning, I'd wake up by my own front door. Same posture, bare feet. I set up a camera, recorded everything. The footage showed me getting up in the middle of the night, opening the door, stepping out into the hall, and he was already there, standing at the end of the corridor, waiting. I showed the video to the local police officer. He said there was no crime, nothing illegal on tape. So I went to the housing office to ask who he was. They went quiet. Then one of them said, You don't have a neighbor across the hall. That unit's been empty since 2013. But I saw him. It's sealed off, she said. After the incident. The next morning, I found a note under my door. You're almost ready. That night, I woke up again. In the hallway. Naked. Standing at his door. And from behind it, light. For the first time ever, I leaned in and heard someone on the other side repeating my own voice. I was renting an old apartment in a gray Soviet-style block on the outskirts. Cheap, convenient, close to the subway. Before I signed the lease, the landlady said something that slightly disturbed me. Don't worry if you hear water at night. Old pipes. The first week was noisy, sure, especially at night. It sounded like someone turned on the tap full blast. I'd get up, check the kitchen. Dry. The bathroom. Dry. Then came the dripping. But not drip drip. It was thicker, stickier. And one morning, I noticed a dark stain near the bathroom drain. Not rust, not dirt. Closer to blood. I called a plumber. He checked the pipes, shrugged. Everything's fine. You're just spooking yourself. Then he added, did you know the floor above used to be a hostel? Room 24. Been locked since 2004 after something... Well, never mind. Of course I asked. He just said, if you start seeing water on the ceiling, pack your things and go. 3 days later, I woke up to a strange rustling. Opened my eyes. A wet, dark patch was growing on the ceiling above my bed. It pulsed, as if it were alive. And from it, something dripped. Red. Onto the sheet. Onto my hand. I jumped up, turned on the light. Nothing. Dry. The ceiling was clean. But on my hand, a stain. Blood. I looked up and saw a face. A face inside the ceiling, behind the plaster. Old, pale, eyeless. It vanished the moment I blinked. I packed and left that night. A week later, I returned with the local cop. The place was empty. Everything looked normal. Except in the bathroom, under the drain, we found a ring. Small, child size, and under the linoleum, a fingerprint, as if someone below had been trying to claw their way out. I always sleep with the door closed, not because I'm afraid, just a habit. But lately, I've been waking up with this strange feeling, like someone is in the room. No sound, no light, just presence. Like I'm being watched. I started checking the apartment. Everything locked. Empty. Until one day, I noticed the vent above the wardrobe. Small. One I'd never paid attention to before. And now, I couldn't look away. I could have sworn someone was behind it. I bought a flashlight. That night, I climbed on a chair and aimed the light inside. Dust, pipes, darkness, and eyes. A pair of eyes, deep inside. Movement. I fell off the chair. Nearly broke something. My heart was pounding like mad. I called the police. Explained everything. They came, opened the vent, checked it. Nothing. No signs. No damage. They left, exchanging looks like, this guy's reading too many horror stories. But I know something was there, and it didn't leave. A couple nights later, I woke up to a noise. A thin, raspy inhale from the vent. I froze. Then came the voice. Quiet, like an old man's whisper. You weren't supposed to see me, I cried. Real, shaking fear. I never slept in that bedroom again. Moved to the couch, but even there I heard it. Creaks, shuffling, watching. A month ago I moved out. New apartment, new building. No vent above the bed. I was starting to relax. Almost. Yesterday I got a letter. No envelope. Just a folded page. Inside, a black and white photo. I'm asleep on the couch, taken from above. In the top corner of the ceiling, a vent, and behind it, eyes. A note on the back. I'm still watching. It all started with a mirror, a simple one at first glance. I was on a business trip, staying in an old hotel somewhere in the Baltics. Pre-war building, oak doors, endless hallways. The hotel owner was selling antique furniture, and I spotted the mirror in a cracked wooden frame with something alive about it. I liked it. I had it shipped back home. Things got strange a week after I returned. I hung the mirror in my bedroom directly across from the bed. Some nights, I'd wake up and notice something off about the reflection. It lagged. I'd turn my head, and my reflection would still be staring forward for a second too long. I brushed it off. Stress, sleep deprivation. Until one night, I woke at exactly 3:44 a.m. and saw myself, still lying down. In the mirror, I was asleep, peacefully, eyes closed. But I was already sitting up. Then the reflection opened its eyes. They weren't mine, and it smiled. I tossed the mirror, dragged it to the dumpster. The next day, it was by my apartment door. I tried to smash it, grabbed a hammer, swung, and it passed right through. No crack, no sound. Like I hit water. My hand came out freezing, like I dipped it in ice. That night I locked the bedroom door, slept on the couch. Next morning, the mirror was hanging back on the wall. In the bedroom, the hooks were gone. It couldn't have been there. I started digging, found an old article from 1927. Same hotel. A woman had smashed all the mirrors on one floor, screaming that the reflections, "Keep watching, even when I leave." They took her away. No further records. That night, I woke again. The room was dark, but in the mirror, light. And someone stood there. It looked like me. Thinner, paler, eyes not on me, but through me. I stood. So did he. Only glass separated us. Then he leaned closer and whispered, "Soon I'll be on the outside." When my grandfather died, I inherited his old suitcase. Worn leather, scratched up, with a combination lock and covered in faded travel stickers. He never told anyone what was inside. Not even my mom. All he once said was, "When I die, you can open it. But not at night, and only when you're alone." I thought it was just another one of his weird quirks. Grandpa had plenty. But after the funeral, the suitcase felt magnetic. One evening, I stayed home alone, sat at the table, entered the code, his birth date. The lock clicked. Inside, bundles of yellowed papers, a small leather notebook, and a black and white photo. The photo was of Grandpa, but behind him, there was something. Blurry. Tall. A shadow with arms reaching the ground. The notebook was filled with shaky handwriting, over and over. "They are coming for me. He came in my sleep again. The suitcase keeps him out." I kept flipping through pages when I realized how cold it had gotten. So cold I could see my breath. Then, the sound. Scratching. From inside the suitcase. I jumped, slammed it shut, snapped the lock closed. The noise stopped. But now, every night, I hear the scratching again. And yesterday morning, the suitcase was open. I hadn't touched it. And inside the notebook, and a fresh note, in my handwriting. "He's already inside." This happened a couple of years ago. But even now, whenever I close my eyes, I still see their faces. Not human. Almost. But not quite. I had just moved to a new city and didn't know many people. I met Dima in an English class. Friendly guy, outgoing, the kind who makes you laugh right away. He invited me over to hang out. Beers, PlayStation, that sort of thing. I said sure. He lived with his parents in an old wooden house on the outskirts of town. It creaked constantly, but it felt cozy inside. His mother was quiet, pale, with huge eyes. His father looked heavy, bald, with a dead serious face. They barely spoke, just stared. I felt uneasy right away, but figured, strict people, whatever. Dima and I hung out in his room, played games, laughed a lot. Around 11 p.m. he said, "Hey, just crash here. Buses aren't running and I'm too lazy to walk you back." I didn't really want to, but it was pouring rain outside, like a wall of water. I agreed. He laid out a sleeping bag on the floor for me and crashed on the bed himself. Around 1 a.m., I woke up to a noise. Footsteps. Very soft. Creaking. like someone walking barefoot on old wooden floors. I figured it was Dima's dad, maybe going to the bathroom. But then I saw the light under the door. Red, like from an old bulb. Or firelight? I got up quietly, cracked the door open. The hallway was empty, but downstairs, from under the stairwell, that same red glow. And voices. Not quite prayer, not quite whisper. I couldn't make out the words, or the language, but it chilled me to the bone. I stepped closer. One stair, another, and then I saw them, standing in a circle. Dima's parents, his grandma, Dima himself, and a fifth figure, small, hunched, with arms way too long. No candles, no ritual objects, just that horrible, pulsing whisper, like something not human trying to speak. Then Dima's mom looked up, right at me. Her eyes were pitch black, not dark, not shadowed, black. Go back to the room, she said. You're not ready. I ran. I don't even remember grabbing my shoes or coat. Just ran into the rain, barefoot, soaked to the skin, and didn't stop until I flagged down a taxi. After that, Dima never messaged me again. His number, disconnected. His telegram, gone. A month later, I went back to check out the house. It was boarded up, and carved into the wood beside the door was one word: ready. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep delighting you every day with new horror tales. See you tomorrow.